Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Beowulf back at it with another video. So this is gonna be like story time. Let's have a story. So this funny thing is, a subscriber and a friend, Frankie, he's from New York area. He just bought a Ford Lightning from Florida. So I figured he was asking me about, because back in the day I had a Ford Lightning from 2002 to 2006. And then when I sold the Lightning, portion of that money, or the money from selling my Lightning, went into buying, with my racing career, I used some of the money to go purchase the Viper Comp Coupe race car that I raced in 2006. So he just picked up like a red one. I think it was a 2001. So the one I had was a 2002. So he was like asked about this footage, and I had like some stored footage that I've never used and put on YouTube from back then. So we're talking, a fair amount ago. So I figured to put it up. The videos you'll see later in the video, it's all standard definition because that's what existed back then. Some of my viewers that are younger would not realize not always there's been HD or 4K or 8K or even above that. Back in the day, we had the old standard definition, and we were lucky to have anything this digital back then. So it's funny because when I got the Ford Lightning, at the time I had a different vehicle that had issues, was brand new, and I traded it in to get the Ford Lightning. Now, back in the day, I recall, I don't have the window sticker, so I recall, I think the Ford Lightning, back brand new in 2002, was about $35,000, maybe $36,000. And there were a lot to choose from, but there was a lot of dealers selling them over sticker because of the demand. So then been 3 years, because the Ford Lightning, I think, was made from 99 to 2004, 2005. I didn't Google search it, but that's what I'm just guessing off the top of my head. And the first 2 years, 99 to 2000, I think it might have been 99 to 2001. They were both the same. And then 2000, it had been 2001 and up, they changed stuff. Because the first 2 years, they had different rims, and then they didn't have like the intercooler. There was a bunch of stuff they improved on, right? I don't remember all because it's so long ago. But I know the last 2 years, they had a different style rim. Basically, the year I had the best rims, how they came standard. And at the time, I was really into performance trucks, and the Lightning was like at the time was like really cool. And they never got replaced besides the Ram SRT 10, which I had one of those too. So I had the privilege of owning both performance trucks that Dodge and Ford made, which was really cool. The Ram SRT 10 I had was the commemorative edition. They only made 200. It was white with blue stripes, and that was a 2005. And I'll have to I have some video tracking that at the Autobahn Country Club, so I'll have to dig up that footage, make a whole nother video about talking about that, because I got a lot of track footage of that thing going after like Lotus Elises, and here's this giant truck with 8 piston calipers. So it's kind of fun story is, I remember too, back when I was racing 2004 and 2005 in the Formula BMW series, we had tag-along races with Champ Car. Now, Champ Car was sponsored by Ford, and I remember they had a Ford Lightning that they would take around on the track, that they cut out the truck bed, and they put Brembo brakes on it, and it was like, I remember at the time, that thing looked pretty mean. I was like, I always wanted to do that with the Lightning, but I ended up selling it because I was buying the race car. Now, the cool things I was privileged to do too was going to the Ford Centennial that was in 2003, which was really cool. They had a whole parking area for all the SVT Lightning. So they had like all like SVT this, like Mustangs in one area. Another area was all for Lightnings. I wish I had some of this footage of that. My mom has in like a scrapbook, and it's hard when somebody takes a photo and then you put it back up on there. But yeah, I did that, and that was really cool. So that was actually the first time too why I ever took it on a road course. Was really, I only did it once, but I'll show you guys something. And that would have been from that event right there. That was me. And yeah, this Lightning I had was like super sick. It was lowered. And then this was when I was Byron Dragway in Illinois. Just look at the tires right there. Look at how it's just like, you know, you had to drop your tire pressure. You had the Nitto drag radials in the back. And yeah, primarily I was drag racing the Lightning and stuff. And it was definitely a really cool truck. So I wanted to show this quick and I'll continue. So this was, I never gave this to the guy that I sold it to. So it shows what number it was. And there's some of the stuff came apart. I had this all way up high and I pulled it down. Look at it. There's a big old, that would have been, I don't know where this was. Look at me back then. You got the red handkerchief coming down. Yeah, that's it. 2003 Beowulf right there. And yeah, so my mom kind of put this together. But then some of the mods, I know there was a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff was JDM engineering. There had the biggest pulley you could put on the bottom down there was done to it. Also, it had the super chips where it had a race mode and stuff. You can only fit so much in this, and this was just kind of a short summary when you were doing shows. I basically had this set up when you have a show, you would show the car and stuff. So the craziest thing, so the day I got the Ford Lightning, back then, I wouldn't advise doing this, but there was, in Chicago, street racing was really big. And I think it was, wow, what was that road called? I don't think it was 42nd Pulaski. That was one of the areas, but maybe it was Division Street in Chicago. And I remember this was like mega like Fast and Furious style because at the time the police couldn't control stuff. So I remember going there, freshly picking up the Lightning day one. And I go up, I wish we had cameras like this back then. And I went with one of my buddies and we went up there to go race it. And I'm getting up and I do this massive burnout. Burnout where the truck is just gone. There's smoke coming into the cab and stuff. Massive burnout. And I was like, oh yeah, this thing is so cool. And definitely was a fun truck. I regret selling it, especially what they're worth now. It's unbelievable. Like what Frankie bought his is what I sold mine when it had like 20,000 something miles on it or something. It was unbelievable. It's one of those things I wish it didn't sell it. And it was funny because back 2013, I think the owner who bought it from me was trying to resell it again. He first wanted me to have dibs on it at the time. I was like, the truck, when I sold it, the truck went to Colorado. So being the Chicagoland area to Colorado, I sold it on eBay. And the guy drove back in like a snowstorm in the mountains with Nitto drag radials on the back, which was crazy. And it was one of those things I kind of, if I look back, I probably should have got back, but it's kind of hard when you own something and then you sell it and you get it back. It's just not the same. There's just tons of stories with that truck too. Definitely was a lot of fun drag racing it. And I would go quite a bit with it. And the funniest thing is when you go out street racing with this truck, the exhaust was on the side. So like if you look at the photo, if you're not familiar with the Lightning, see on this side you can't see the exhaust, right? And the exhaust was on the passenger side. So if you pull over on the shoulder, most of the time police would not think you're this fast truck. Because when this first came out, not everybody knew this was a performance truck. You just looked like you're this low rider truck. And I can't tell you how many times I got out of being pulled over with this truck that the police would go after all the sports cars and the imports and domestics. And just like this thing was like the stealth thing. Just like, because the exhaust would point out the other way, you wouldn't even hear it. That wouldn't pick up as other vehicles where the exhaust was in the back. And that thing was just tons of fun. And then the crazy thing is there was a big difference on speed. Obviously the Lightning felt quicker because it was automatic than when I had the Ram SRT 10 that had the Viper transmission. So always autos are faster than manuals, hands down. And it was just definitely a fun truck. to go to like the Ford Centennial. There was a couple of trips where, you know, I think I took it to one of the races. But it was just all around just like a fun truck. And at the time I had a Rottweiler. So I had really cool times taking him. Like we'd have a lot of meets where people would meet up at night. Let's say not racing, but just like a car meet. And I would bring my Rottweiler Bear with me and we'd hang out there. And definitely was a fun car. I remember taking a couple drive-in movie theaters, which is cool because I had the bed rug in the back. So it was totally comfortable to lay in the back there. And it had the tonneau cover on the back. And I did a fair amount of road trips with the truck it was a fun all-around vehicle with driving. So I figured just to share a little story to it and then share some clips. And hope you guys enjoy it because it's definitely really cool. There's a couple of the videos where it's raining out and we're drifting the thing around. There was one where I do you'll see in the clip, I doing donuts with it, and because it's moving so much, the truck actually shut off itself because I thought it was out of control. It was kind of funny. And then I'll throw a couple clips or pictures of the Ford Lightning, and yeah, that's kind of like it was all around a fun truck. It's kind of, when I saw the one that Frankie got, it brought back a lot of memories of having mine and how much fun it was owning that truck at the time. And there's never been anything that really replaced it besides the Ford Raptor. And oh, that's the other thing. Oh man, I'm almost forgetting about this in the story. I was like, there's something more to talk about. So the cool thing when I did the Ford Centennial, this is the most important thing to tell in the video. So we got a special tour of SVT. And at the time, that's when Ford had it with their whole division with racing, performance racing, street cars and stuff. So this would have been right when it was not even before production, the Ford GT was coming out in the early 2000s. So we got to take a tour there. So we saw the original prototype, and then they had at their facility, they had the prototype, the GT90. That thing is unbelievable. And then they had a prototype of a Ford Ranger that had the wider, there would have been these rims on it, but widened, bigger than what come in the Lightning. And they stuck that engine in the Ranger. And I remember they did this huge burnout and everybody's like freaking out. How did the engine fit in there? It was one of those things, I think they wanted to come out with it and it just wouldn't happen. But it was definitely this really sick. Think of the Lightning, but a Ranger Lightning. And it's pretty cool because it's like almost what you look at what they're trying to do now. Because I think in Australia, you can get the Ranger Raptor and they don't have it here in the United States. So it's kind of like it's foreseeing what the future was going to be, and they found that doing off-roading style vehicles were more important than performance street vehicles. So that was definitely really cool seeing all that tour of that facility. That, you know, back then, you knew it was so cool, but it was just such an important thing to see. So I figured to share that. And we're talking about this. I'm definitely going to be texting my mom to see if she could take a couple photos to put this in the video when I'm editing, because I think it's kind of important.
Now see when that's on, it's recording.
So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys next one. Peace out, Beowulf Nation.